This is Lee with 82 Game and 12 here on YouTube channel Sons Liberty 75. I've got another video of my playthrough over Glory and Empire, First Victories, Wellington versus Napoleon, Lock and Load Publishing. This is scenario 4 concerning the Vimeiro battle. Your plan is the title of the scenario. And we are in the 1300 hour, 1 o'clock. Continuing the French phase, we're at the movement segment. So we have attack order phase, command status phase, and then the movement phase. And let's see here. In the command status phase, well, it says each corps leader of the phasing player, okay, the attack order phase, each corps leader of the phasing player that has an attack order makes his corps leader orders phase. Okay, so we only have one corps. This is a smaller battle. So, who know, his entire command is would be a corps, a small corps at that. So, next would be the command status phase. This is where we're determining which units are in or out of command. And so, when we're looking here, I've already got these two marked. They are part of what was Solinac's let me find them, Solinac's brigade. And they are now led by Petit, who has a range of 2, and they are beyond the 2. So they are both out of command, which means their movement is going to be reduced. And let's see, I think I've got some, of course, this artillery unit here, 15-6. Is close enough to know, so it would be in command. This artillery unit that's underneath would belong to Delaborde, and so it could actually be assigned to Messlaire, but he only has a range of 2. So this would be out of command. See if I can, here's one. So I'll place that there. Won't have to worry about that unit. And then this cavalry unit here is, of course, out of command. Here's one. And this one back here, okay, it's with a commander. 2C. He's still in command. Okay. So let's see this unit here. 1-1. He's out of command. Way up there. Let's see who else could be out of command here. Well, these units here are out of command. I have to pull some more of those up if I can find them. Well, now I've already talked about my displeasure with the information counters, the amount, the number that you have, and not having enough to really to play the game properly without using other things to mark. And so here I'm out of command markers. So of course he's out of command. And let's see what we got here. Those units are in command. Okay, so I think that's about it. So now we can move to the movement phase. So let's get started with that. And we'll start over here first and just move across. I don't think it really matters which units you move. You just, as long as you keep track of who you move so you don't move them more than once. With these units here, they want to slide this direction. Now they only have a movement of 4 because they're out of command. And so they are going to move this direction. So they're going to move 1. Okay. And then up this slope, here will be, let us close in a little bit. Okay. That'd be +1. So that's 2, 3. And then they're going to turn like so. Now if I move them, well, they'd be in command now, but I want to move them 1 more to 4, like so. And so this unit here will turn and go 1, 2, 3, and then they're going to turn. And they're still going to be out of command, but yeah, we'll just leave those like that. Okay. So And something that I had been doing from the very beginning was I was allowing these skirmishers to reaction fire out to their skirmish zone, which was incorrect. That skirmish zone is only good for offensive fire. They do have a reaction zone if a unit moves adjacent to a front hex, okay, which is more than regular infantry has, but they don't have reaction out to 2 and 3 hexes. So that was me interpreting the rules there a little incorrectly. So, okay, then this here, they want to they're just going to slide back to there so that their flank is protected by this unit. Kellerman here has attack orders. He's in line. So he's going to turn, and he's actually in command here. So he's going to turn and go. He's got to go up a slope. That's 1, 2. Turn. Well, no, he just goes up a slope there. And then he's going to move into there, which is going to give this unit here that has a skirmisher reaction fire. So it's a 1, strength of 1, shaken -1, and they have a skirmisher that's another -1. So they're going to be firing on the 0 column. 28's no effect. Okay. Now they're not going to attack, but just get in position. And this unit here is going to move adjacent to this unit and actually attack. He's going to assault. Okay. And here, same thing, except it's just going to be the top one. It's going to move here and assault. He's assaulting this direction. Okay. This unit here, 1, 2, trying to figure out where his leader is. Okay, it's right here. Charlot? Yes. Well, no, that's 2, 2. So actually his leader is back here, Pettit. So he's out of command. Take this one here. So he needs to move back here. So he's going to turn and move back closer to his commander. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So he comes back to here. So he was out of command. And Of course, he's going to throw up a skirmisher. Okay. And these guys here, these are both out of command. So they're going to hold their ground. I'm going to remove that. And Messler here, he's going to move up. So this unit here is going to move up to here. Messler's going to move up there with him. Okay. Now this artillery unit is still disordered. This unit here, okay, needs to stay over here. It's with these guys. This one. Eight, 3. Where? Oh yeah, billboard's over there. Okay. So it can be assigned to any. So we're going to flip. Thing is, Delaboard is over there. But they were here. Okay, so it cost, let's see, 4 to flip over. And then, so 5, 6. Okay, that's where they're at. This unit here is going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Yeah, let's see. What is this? Out of ammo? Yeah. Going to move right in there. This unit back here is out of command. But he's going to move up here to be with this artillery unit, give it some protection, and he'll just be disordered with it. Okay. I'm making some moves here and you don't even see them. Okay. So I just moved some units around here. This artillery unit, let's see, that shrub for artillery costs 4. and it needs to move back over here. So this unit here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This one here turns over. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. Put it right there. But some, they need to get over here. So this unit turns 1, 2, 3, 4. Turns to there. And same thing here. They're going to turn. The someone's going to come back here with this artillery unit. They're going to move back this way. So 1. Oops. He leaves Charlotte there. So he moves 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3. Just take that stuff off for a minute. So he was here. What's this guy? Okay, so he's going to move through this guy. I don't need those on there now. So the shrub for, I think it's 2. Yeah, 2. Okay. So okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think they have a movement of 7, 6. So he goes to there. And let's see here. I guess he'll stay with this unit. Charlot. Okay. This unit here. Go ahead and take that off because he's Gonna turn and just move to right there. I don't think I moved him yet. Maybe I did. I'll just leave it there. Can't remember if I moved him yet. Okay, and we have this artillery here that Huno is going to send toward that side of the battle. Possibly try to get across maybe this bridge down here if we can push these guys back. Forgot who this is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7. And Huno's going to move over here to try to rally this unit. Well, actually, this unit over here is the stronger unit, so we're going to do that. This one here is going to move to that road. Okay. And then to move in here close, this should be pink. What have I got a blue one for? All right, so we have attack orders here. Have attack orders here with this bunch. And so, let's see. Crossing that dry stream bed. Other terrain. Okay, so we don't have to roll for. So, okay. So they moved to there and assault. And this guy well, guess they're just going to stay right to where they're at. But this guy better stay with Delabord. He's going to move up. Throw out some SCDs. Moved right there. And this artillery unit is going to move 1, 2, and then, well, actually, they can move 1, 2, 3 right there. Turn over right there. This guy's turning like so. This cavalry unit is going to move up here to get in command. 3, 4. Well, actually, it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one here will do the same thing. It's going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's this one belong to? Same thing right here. Okay. He'll move over to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to move to there. To there. This one will slide back. Okay, I think that's it. I just moved some, repositioned some cavalry units over here, and thing is, when these guys moved in here, they could have been fired on. So they could fire it right here at these guys. That's reaction fire. That artillery unit there, they're disordered, low ammo, and they have a strength of 2. But that's canister. So disordered is -1, so they're at 1. Strength canister is +3, so that's 4. These guys are in columns, so that moves it to 5, but they have a skirmisher, SED, so that's -2. So it goes back down to 3. 75 though. 75 is morale -10. They're shaken, so that's -20. So they're going to fail, and they're going to be broken. So, wow. That's what happens. You try to get too close to cavalry. Artillery. 1, 2, 3. So they move back there with Delaboard. And so Delaboard has a range of 4. He still has him in command. This one over here, though, is 1, 2, 3 out of command. All right, so we don't have any cavalry charges over there, so we don't have any reserve movement, so we can go right to the assaults. So let's close into the first one here. Do we want to get that close? I don't think so. All right, so that's what we have there. Okay. So let's go down our list. All right. Don't have an empty target hex, don't have retreat for combat, advance in empty target hex, no. So we have attacker morale check. Okay, now that's just their assault marker. All right. Rolled a 96, so they passed, and they have well-directed fire. And the defender is disordered. They have a skirmisher marker, so that's minus, oh no, that's plus 10. They rolled a 90. They're going to pass. So they're going to have well-directed fire. So we remove the skirmishers. Okay. So they have a strength of 3, fire strength. They're disordered, so minus 1. So now they're at 2. Well-directed fire is plus 2. So now they're at 4. And the defender is in column. I mean, the attacker is in column. Okay, they rolled a 12. So, let's see. 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, so it's 5. I rolled a 12, is no effect. And so now we have the attacker has a 1, well-directed fire, plus 2 is 3. 40 is a morale check, and they rolled a 10. So they have minus 5, so it become a 5. So they will become shaken. And there's a shaken. And be forced back. Now, as they are falling back, they get fired at by this unit right here, who's SED, with a strength of 2, but they're disordered, so they have a strength of 1. $88 is a morale check. They rolled a 38. Minus 10 is a 28. So now they are broken. Okay. So I don't think I have any more broken markers. So I have to put a red marker on top of them. I have to use my own markers. Really causes some issues. All right, so they've got to retreat 3. So they can retreat just through that town and not have to retreat over anybody. So they end up going 1, 2, 3. No. Well, yeah, I guess it's like that, yeah. So they can actually move on in to there, and they become disordered. Here's one. All right. And this unit here could fire on them. So we have this SED. Well, they're not in SED. No, they're not able to fire. They're not in skirmish mode. So, okay. All right, so this assault's completed. So now we move on to the other assaults that we have. Let's take this down. And so that's going to be here. And they're assaulting this unit here. So we've got the assault. Skirmisher. Okay. The defender is disorganized along with the attacker. So, all right, so we go straight to the morale. Okay, attacker rolls an 83. They're going to pass. The defender rolled a 52. So they're going to pass. So now we go to fire. I have to remove the skirmisher on the attacker side. Okay, so defender has fire strength of 2. They are in scrub there. So -1 for being disordered. So they're at 1. Well-directed fires +2. And let's see, I didn't subtract. So actually, over here on this other assault, this is something that I do not do regularly. Okay, with this other assault here, they should have lost 2 steps of morale, which would have put them at broken. And then when they were fired on, I would have also had to subtract 20 from the morale roll. But when they were being forced to withdraw, they would have been fired on, reaction fire. And they would have routed. So actually, they're in a state of rout. And well, here's one. I needed it. Okay, so they're actually routing. Okay, so over here, okay, so over here, okay, so over here, firing here, we've got a strength of 2, -1, so they're at 1. They have well-directed fire, so that's +2, so they're at 3. Targets in shrub, that's -1. So now we're at 2. And the target is in column, so that's +1. So we're back to 3. All right, an 88 at 3. Okay, morale -10. Okay, since it's offensive, defensive fire, that's -20 more. So we're at -30. And -5 more for being disordered. So that's -35, and they rolled a 30. So they are going to be shaken and forced back. So that ends that. That ends that assault with them shaken. Okay, so then we go to the other assault that's left, which is against this unit, with this unit. So we've got the assault, and they're disordered already. Okay, and this unit is disordered. Okay. And they're in the open, in the clear. Okay. The attacker rolled a 23. So they are going to be shaken and fall back, so they don't carry out their assault. And that's going to end the French phase, just like that. Get rid of those. next we'll be moving to the British phase. And so we've got a tack order here and another tack order over here, and Crawford's. So Ackland, Crawford, and then over here it's Bows. And we'll see what happens with that. Things are getting interesting around Vimeiro. A hard push there, and the French could possibly split the British Army into two. And the British left is pretty much hemmed in by the cavalry, and they're in squares for the most part. And there's now artillery over here that is going to be able to cause some serious issues for these, especially this unit right here in square. It's getting ready to be pummeled. But the British, they don't have anything really left. They've got, we look here, that's 1, 2, 3 units that are routing. And over here, we've got disordered, shaken, disordered, shaken. Over here, 2 shakens, disorder, disorder. No, 3 shakens. This one here with the yellow marker disc. It's another shaken unit. So, yeah, I've got like, well, I've got another shaken. That came free. So there we are. But the discs are, well, if they're on top, they're morale. If they're on the bottom, they're formation reminder. But right now I don't need it under that one because they are still in square. So yeah, I think the terrain over in this area is not harsh enough. There's too much open openness for cavalry to work. I've already talked about this area here not being difficult enough for maneuver, which aided the French in quickly getting to the British left. I think there should be steeper elevation changes in that area that would have forced the French to maneuver around at least to Toledo. You know, go around Toledo here and maybe close to where Fontanelle is. We've got steep elevation changes here, but not so around where this dry bed is. That's just an observation. But you can look at the companion book and look at the maps that they have there, which is topographical maps, and look at that. So I think that's just something that was missed when they were creating the map. Which doesn't take away from the tactical aspects, it just takes away from the historical accuracy, in my opinion. Terrain plays such an important role, not only in the historical battle, but also in gameplay. Now, I do need to point out that my incorrect interpretation of what was considered out of command and no orders also limited the ability of the British to move their units from the Western Ridge area over to Vimeiro. And that aided the French. Somewhat. So, you know, there's mistakes on my part as the player as well. So that is basically distorting the, I guess, accuracy of the playthrough. I've got to play the rules correctly in order for the game to be correct, the outcome. So it's not just the missing ravine, but also error by me and not differentiating between out of command and no orders. But I will definitely say this is a very intriguing rule set, mechanic-wise, that I believe gives the player a truer picture of what Napoleonic warfare was at the tactical level. And the use of the skirmisher is, I think, by far the best of any other Napoleonic game. You know, SPI, is it Wellington versus Ney or Ney versus Wellington, which was a magazine game originally, I guess. Had a unique and very innovative, at least I thought, innovative use of skirmishers, even though they gave the skirmishers were a little too powerful. But, you know, no one really, I thought, had solved the issue of the skirmisher in providing a more historical result until now. And if you read enough accounts of skirmisher use in historical commentary or memoirs, then you can clearly see how the mechanic here in this game illustrates skirmishers in a more historical I don't know if I want to say way or perspective, but I think this is a very excellent way of dealing with the skirmisher issue. Which was used regularly and quite well by both of these armies, the French and the British. And maybe more so with the British and how they used their skirmishers, throwing out a huge screen, a mass of skirmishers, so that from some accounts, the French were confused, the French officers were confused, and thought that the skirmishers they were fighting were the front line. And so when the skirmishers pulled back, they were led to believe that the British were actually retreating. And when their men picked up their pace to chase these skirmishers down, they ran into the front line and were quite shocked and many times forced back because of this surprise that, oh, you know, what is this? We thought the British were on the run, but here's a thin wall of British soldiers pouring fire into us. So, and you see that. in the mechanics of this game. I just wish they would give you more counters, information counters to play without having to use your own. So, but other than that, and then maybe some inaccuracies on the map, I really enjoy this system. And I don't know if you could possibly create a ravine, change in elevation, using something similar to this, you know, that you could just lay on the map. You know, maybe, you know, of course, you know, I have plexiglass, so you could actually put it underneath that plexiglass so it would sit still, you know, and so, you know, and it could just be, you know, something like this that could cheaply be made, that would just lay on top and change the elevation to create a ravine, you know, right through this area. When you wouldn't have to, like, redo the map. You just create something that's transparent like this, you know, or it doesn't have to be transparent. It can just be that you lay over the top, you know, but it'd be this type of material, so forth, that, you know, I put that on there, you know, it'll stay unless I move it around. But I mean, if I've got of course, it, you know, it'd have to be, you know, created so that it fits, you know, like this does, wherever you're at. But you know, it could be used to put in there. You know, I could even create my own, you know, and you know, if you go to the companion book, well, that's, I got to get over here to Vimeiro, wherever that's at. Find it. It's not the. There we go. Should be right. Yeah, right here. So let's see. So if we look down here, pull this over here. So here's Vimeiro, here's my Sierra. And we could actually turn this like, well, this string here, though, has to run sort of like that. Yeah. Okay. And so, let's see, where is that at? Okay. So, Ventosa, if we are to look at this map here, here it is, and Fontanelle is right there. So, Ventosa, and then Toledo. So on this map, Ventosa, this has got to be Toledo right here. Okay, and if we look in here, look at all those lines. So we have this road and this road going to Toledo. So these two roads here are going to be these two. Okay. So if we look here, Toledo, this would be Toledo. Okay. You have a lot of elevation changes through here. Okay, all around Toledo, and look at all this, and that's where this dry stream bed is right here. Okay, runs all the way down here to the Minor River, the Maciera, right here. Runs out to the Atlantic. So what's missing is these elevation changes. Okay. All through here and up toward the eastern ridge here. There's a lot of elevation changes all through here and across this stream bed. You see it. But when we look at the map, look, we don't have. We've got a large, broad area here where we have only here and here on either side. And these are not steep enough. It should be much steeper. We're looking at 20, I guess that's 20 feet. So I don't know, I guess is okay. Is that 0 and then it jumps to 200? You know, it's kind of hard to tell on this map. Well, there's 80, 120, 160. So that jumps to 400. That goes all the way up to 520 or 500. But on either side, there's got to be more. You know, it's not as drastic, I guess, as right around by the river over there. And maybe that over there should be a lot more drastic than it is. But, you know, it talks about Colonel St. Clair march in column by platoons along the woody height, which descends in rapid slope on the right towards the ravine through which the road passes from Vimeiro to Toledo. So there should be a ravine here as this goes through, and it doesn't appear to be a very steep ravine, which it says woody height which descends in rapid slope. And Solinak talks about first scaled the opposite mountain, having traversed Toledo, had nearly reached Fontenelle. So, yeah, that's something that needs to be looked at. That's something that could be easily amended with, like I said, one of these pieces like this with, you know, varying shapes, but with the elevation changes to match the historical maps. So, and because of that, I don't think we are getting a very accurate depiction of the battle. But of course, like I said, it's the ravine not being there, which allowed the French to just, you know, move their cavalry through easily without much restriction. And then also the fact that back here where the terrain is steeper and changes quickly, the British were moving at a snail's pace due to my inaccurate understanding of the difference between out of orders and out of command. So if they didn't have an order, I was restricting their movement, and I shouldn't have been. There should have only been if they were out of command. So, twofold, two things. No ravine and restriction by my part on moving allowance for the British. They would have got there much, much faster and been able to set up a proper defense instead of being hurried to just try to patch holes here and there, and would have had support for their cavalry. I don't think, well, they might still have some cavalry left that they could use, but as is, their cavalry was just outmatched and easily defeated. So, well, we're going to continue to play through and see what happens. I do want to get to some other things, other games and stuff that I have, and that's the thing in playthrough. If you do it right, it takes time. It takes a lot of videos, but it allows you, the viewer, to see the game played in many different aspects. So, you know, hopefully you come across all of the rules at some point or other, and you can learn from my mistakes in which rules to be sure and include, which is all of them. But, you know, if you have rules that are kind of unique that you don't have, say, in other games, then, you know, sometimes you leave those out, and they can play a big part, especially with the reduction of morale by 2 degrees or 2 levels in assaults or charges, and also the reduction in, or the die roll modifier for that, and the well-directed fire, things like that. So, but the assaults where you don't have cold steel between infantry versus infantry in this game system is very accurate to the descriptions in the historical commentary and historical reports and so forth, so that you're only going to have actual cold steel between infantry if they're in a building, a village, a defensive structure. So, otherwise one side or the other is gonna back off because they don't want to be stuck by those pointy things. Men are not going to just stand still and allow their opponent to stick them. They're going to run away or back up, do something, unless they're in confined space. So, but yeah, we'll pick up with the British turn next. Ferguson was a casualty in the last hour, or not hour, the last 20 minutes. So his replacement, which is Byrne, will not appear until the 1320 turn. They have to sit out, be leaderless for one turn, one phase. So he was lost in their last phase, so his replacement steps forward in the phase after. So all right, come on back and see what's going on. And hopefully, if you have this game, you'll get it to your table and start playing it. It's not a very difficult system to play. I think it's so much easier than, say, La Bataille. One thing is the way the rules are organized is so much easier to find rules, and they're consistent. And there's not a lot of vagueness in this system. It's clear cut, easy to understand. And the other thing is the charts. The charts that you have provide so much information. And also you have this awesome sequence of play that has also the assault procedure, all of the segments broken down. And then on the opposite side, you have the charge procedure, reaction charge procedure. It's all right there that you can just pull out. And, I put it in this little folder here to protect it because you use this so much. And I got this at Dollar Tree. You just slide the stuff in there. And if I didn't have to open these up, and I possibly could separate these, just cut right along through there and put these in something as well to protect them. It's got that glossy finish to it. These are so nice. This is a very expensive game, but the components are so nice, and the counters, the map, everything is top quality. Lock and Load has really stepped up and raised the bar to Napoleonic gaming. I think this is such a higher quality than their Heroes series, like Heroes of Falklands and so forth. I think this is such a higher quality, and just the decision to have smaller counters for the skirmishers and the morale is amazing too. I think that was a very wise decision. It, as a gamer, it makes it so much easier to see other stuff you know. And I know it sometimes causes some, tumbling, and you also don't have a lot of stacks, huge stacks, as you have in some games. Um, the which is not a big issue, is having to do with the formations. Some games you have column on one side and line on the other. That's the Legion war games. The what's that series called? Well, this system doesn't have that. It's like La Bataille. You just turn the counter, either hex spine, it's in line, hex side, it's in column. But with the counters getting shifted when you're, moving stuff and so forth, I like that I can put these discs underneath. And, for the British, they're predominantly in line, so I don't need to put anything. I just know, hey, they're in line, and if they get shifted a little bit, I can tell, okay, this is the hex spine they should be facing. But if they're, if they were in, say, square, and they are forced out of square, then they have to reform back into column. And that's where I would put one of these red discs underneath. I've got one right here. If I was to close in, right back there. That unit there, okay, has come out of being broken or routed. So they're now in a column. And so that red disc tells me that unit is in column. And so is this one. They're both in column. And if I wanted to, give them more movement, which they need more movement to get back to the front and to get back with their other units, and traveling from here to here, then I'd have them in column. And I can put this disc under there. And these discs, I got it, I believe I got those also at Dollar Tree. That or Michael's or something. And for the French, I just do the opposite. The French are mainly in column. And if I have a unit that I want to put into line, then I put a blue disc. Kind of hard to tell, I guess, what color that is, but it's blue. Okay. And I've got examples of that also. Right here, this unit here has a blue disc underneath. And I know, and also this one, I know both of those units are in line. And of course, I've been using the disc on top. If the disc is on top, green is disordered, yellow is shaken, red, okay, is broken. And if it's routed, then I'll need to come up with another color, I guess, but I guess I could put a red and a yellow, or two reds maybe, I don't know. I haven't really had to do that, but I guess I could put a blue, but that's blue on top, but could be routed, but that's just, and I have these blocks that I use too, but these blocks would be too difficult to use for line or column. Putting the disc underneath doesn't interfere with it, and yet I can instantly know what that is. So, you use what works for you. And for me, just having the unit there without knowing, I can't remember all of these, what they were in, whether they were line or column. I can basically, because French are column, British are line, but, you're going to have some where they go the opposite. So when it happens, it's hard to remember because they can get pushed around a little bit, and you're like, well, which way were they facing? Like this unit here looks like they're facing the hex spine, but they were going this way, so they're actually facing that direction, this way. So, but you come up with your own ways of dealing with stuff. And with some of these information counters, that I guess will be eliminated when the next volume comes out, and now you have twice as many information counters. But you'd like to keep your counters separate, and so maybe they could also, I guess, offer additional counters, a bag of, extra informational counters, a bag or just a sheet, print off a half sheet or something that has more morale markers and maybe out of command markers, which on the opposite side are prone, which the British used prone much more than the French. Wellington had his men lay down, especially if they were, in the line of artillery fire, and also to surprise their opponents. So he used reverse slope and have them lay down, and when the enemy approached, then they would jump up and fire and then charge. So. But this could possibly be my favorite Napoleonic system, and it's not just because they're focused in on the Peninsular War, which is my favorite part of the Napoleonic era, the cat and mouse game that Wellington played against the French marshals, the various French marshals, and also the shenanigans that Wellington had to put up with in regards to the Spanish leaders, and just the fact that the Spanish people refused to be subjugated and rose up against the French and fought the guerrilla warfare, which was, I think, a bit of a shock that the peasantry was not willing to be ruled by anyone other than their king and queen, and also did not like the French trying to do away with their religion. But they fought aggressively, ferociously, and were a major part in the defeat of the French. Without their resistance, then you would probably see that, or would have seen that the French would have been able to defeat the British in the Peninsular War. You see some, I guess, resemblance of what the Spanish were doing in the Napoleonic age to what the French did, and other peoples, but mainly the French, did in World War II against the Germans and the Nazis. The French had their resistance, and they didn't give up, and they did guerrilla warfare. And you have to wonder, well, and speculate that they, as a people, had learned from the Spanish, from the history, that we don't have to take, an overthrow and just accept it. We can fight back. And they did. And that was instrumental in helping the Allies to regain control of France. Just like the Spanish were spies, the French were too in World War II. So, but you look at in Europe during the Napoleonic Age, they weren't rising up. The peasantry, they were not rising up. They were actually joining the French army, being recruited, of course. Not there on their own really free will. They were being forced into it, but they didn't revolt and do a lot of guerrilla warfare against the French when they were taken over. It's like they accepted it and just, they didn't fight back. Now, when their country had decided to, rejoin the coalition and begin fighting Napoleon again, of course, they were willing to support their country and fight again against the French. But other than that, they kind of accepted what the takeover. And the Spanish, they didn't do that. And that was not an easy choice. They had to know that was going to result in the loss of their lives if they were caught. They would be severely punished, shot, hanged, something. So, and you also, with the American Revolution, which was prior, not by many years, but prior, you had the people rise up to fight against the British. It was a different circumstance, though, because the British had already been here and were already the governing body and so forth. So, but you still had guerrilla warfare tactics that had been learned from the Indians, for one thing. But the Spanish were a special people, that they didn't just take it, but they fought back. And that's something that Napoleon was not expecting. He did not expect that. He had not come across that prior. And so it was kind of a shock that his army and his brother, Joseph, could not control the populace. All right, enough of the history, I guess, lesson, which I love history, and I taught history as a junior high and high school teacher for many years, and I loved history when I was in school and so forth. So, but sometimes I just get all talking about it, and there we go. Now, that's that. But Yeah, come on back, see what happens. The British are going to try to fight back some here. They've got to try to turn the French left here and just do that while holding here as best they can. I think they can hold here, but right here around Vimeiro is things are starting to break down. And Crawford is going to be the key to whether or not they hold it or that it folds. And if this folds, then the French are going to be able to isolate the two sections of the British Army and just really annihilate them. So the next couple of turns here are going to be the deciding factor whether or not the British can hold on and not get wiped out.